Welcome to Shadow the Broker, Any Port in a Storm. This is our special midweek mission following up on Shadow the Broker 43, Profits Without Borders. So before we go into character introductions, if one of you guys can catch Hisham up, our guest, on what had happened in the previous session and what we're doing now.
We went to Zygeria, which was recently bombed to the Stone Age by the Empire in an earlier mission that, oh boy, we're gonna have to recap that one too. It's a very long story. Anyway, to just stick things to the mission that this is a following up on, we went to a space station orbiting the planet that the Corporate Sector Authority had occupied and were using as their own private port. After allying ourselves with the former king of Zygeria, who became a pirate king after he left the planet thinking his wife was trying to kill him, Alberon, that's his name, we were able to get on the station and kick the CSA out. Alberon then quickly took over. However, we also found there was a large group of Zygerian people kept on the station in deplorable conditions. Alberon managed to rally most of them to his cause to create a new Zygerian nation that was founded on the principles of slavery, much like the old Zygeria. However, there was a small faction that didn't agree with Alberon's path and came with us, or at least decided to listen to us more.
Yeah, they definitely want to try something else, something new. They're looking to us to see what options they have. A quick note for our viewers as well. It's Zygeria or Zygeria. They actually both come up in canon, both pronunciations. Like Queen Mirage says Zygeria, but then I think Atai says Zygeria. So it's whatever your preference is, we'll just go with it. But yes, we do have several refugees. And I was thinking one number that was put forth was around half a dozen. Then I think someone may have mentioned possibly a dozen. I'll let you guys come up with that number together as a group. Another thing that's going to be a little bit different about this mission is that normally I run pretty structured missions, but this one is a little bit more freeform, or well, actually a lot more freeform, because I really don't know what you guys are going to choose. And there are 5 major choices, but yeah, it's really up to you guys. So the future of this very small group of Zygerians is in your hands. And so while you guys are... Oh, we should do character introductions. So first up, we will do Rock K4.
I'm here. So I'm playing R0C-K4, or Rocky, pretty much to everyone else. Geez, I don't know how to introduce him. He was an LEVO police droid on a small security colony, but due to an electrical storm, he was able to dodge his memory wipe and found his way, contracted into working for the broker to help him keep a low profile. He's grown very close to Saber Scintel, who is another one of the agents, and a Zygerian, well, sort of the crown prince of Zygeria, and that's kind of why Rock feels a great deal of admiration and responsibility for helping these Zygerian refugees.
Yes. Next up is Erdogan.
I'm playing Erdogan Sale. He's a Force-sensitive archaeologist and rebel agent that has been working for the broker for, wow, almost a year now.
Awesome. Next up is Eve.
Alright, Evelyn Hertz is a female human. She was taken into slavery at a fairly young age and then was there for most of her life, trading between different slave owners. At one point, she was in the possession of Bodo the Hutt, but then the broker's agents attacked his barge, killed Bodo, sunk the barge kind of deal, and Eve escaped on their ship with them, so now she's currently in the employ of the broker. And that's Eve, so ex-enforcer, and there we go.
Alright, next up is Macron.
I am Jack, playing Macron Duval, a fallen noble from the Corps who seeks to, at the end of a very long path, redeem the Empire.
And last but not least, especially in bulk, is Zivo.
Zivo is a young Hut, kind of the equivalent of like a 18 to 20-year-old human, but obviously much older, so that's just how Huts are. He was exiled from his clan for allegedly killing a rival in another clan, but he didn't do it. And in one of our kind of ongoing missions elsewhere, he's on the trail of the person who pulled the trigger, most likely.
Yes, and I was mistaken. No, not last. We also have a guest today. So he is playing Tariq. So Hisham, if you can introduce your character.
Yes, Tariq is one of the very few, I would consider, rare Wookiees who has been formally trained as a doctor. And he's a public health specialist drafted in to help the rebels deal with refugees, like the current crisis we have. And he advises rebel commanders on dealing with everyday realities of dangers emerging infectious diseases and stuff. So he's kind of honored to be called in because he's relatively new to the Rebel Alliance, to be among such elite operatives as the group obviously is. So thank you for inviting Dr. Tariq for this particular
Yeah, good to have you along.
problem.
So,
Thank you.
Renzi Tosh, who is on the station, she arrived with the largest of the medical frigates that joined with the humanitarian effort. She has been working with Ragesh to find a place for Zygerians who are wanting to leave and to live someplace else. Unfortunately, other Zygerian colonies have refused entry, which is pretty discouraging, but yes, they are not accepting any refugees, no matter how small the number. And so alternatives must be found. And so she has been working with Ragesh to find possible places. And 5 planets have come up as the most promising, and they have been arranged in order of when you all last visited. So actually, before we go into that, I want to see if I'm going to give a bonus XP point to the first person who can name the first 4. You're not going to know the 5th one, but the first 4 you guys might know.
Before we do, I just want to ask one question about the Zygerian colonies. Are they turning them away just because they don't want more people, or are they turning them away because they're drinking Alberon's Kool-Aid?
Unfortunately, you're not really sure. They're not really responding to requests for contact. All they've said is no.
All right. Now, so you just want to give us a chance to identify the planets just by their picture?
Yeah. Well, also, and she said, and they're also arranged in the order that you last visited them.
From most recent, or from
most recent to never.
Okay.
And you'll have to type it out just so that, everyone's got a shot.
I'm stumped on the first planet.
I know Onderon is one of them. Earth?
No worries. I won't spend too much time on this. I'll just go ahead and name them. So, also too, some of the information that will be talked about is highly, highly confidential. Renzi reminds all of you. And there is a small group of Zygerians who will be coming with you on the Sunflare to one of these destinations. There are others who are interested, but they're very nervous because, this is a very just terrible situation in terms of the devastation of their homeworld being completely uprooted, and they're scared. So even though they know that they have to leave, they have to find someplace else, they're terrified. And so they're looking to this first group to maybe settle down somewhere and let them know if it's okay. And in the meantime, they will stay with the rebels who have offered them temporary asylum. But, Renzi kind of hints that Rebel Command really wants to kind of move things along because there are lots of other things going on in the galaxy right now. So the first planet that is on the list here is Singram 3, aka the planet of Wayrite. The next one is Onderon, which has Whisper Base. The third one is Corphi. The fourth one is Socorro. And the fifth one is one that is relatively unknown, and that is Jagamir. And so Renzi will go into that a little bit later. So what Renzi would like is for all of you to discuss the pros and cons of these worlds one by one. And once you guys have come up with what you think may be the best choice out of these 5, then approach the Zygerians and see what they feel or how they feel. And actually, we've got 2 Zygerian characters who were created by players here, and I'll let you guys RP those characters when we get to that moment. So first up is Singram 3. So I'll move you guys over. So Singram 3 is a relatively unpopulated world. There's only one colony on it right at this point. There are people that live on the outskirts, but the colony itself is called Wayrite, and the governor of Wayrite is Dox, who is actually a former agent of the broker. And so it's a safe place for the broker's agents, and Dox is willing to allow Zygerians to settle there as free citizens. However, there are some possible complications, and before I go into them, maybe some of you can bring up what some of those complications might be.
Well, it's a nice little melting pot. They probably have a problem with former slavers settling there.
They also have a huge problem with Imperials.
Yeah.
So,
These might not be a
And
former slaver.
rockworms.
Yeah, rockworms. But
yes.
we took care of the rockworm problem.
Well, we took care of the big one.
James, there will be some spoilers for Laws of War. I do apologize, but there's really no way to avoid that.
I think you've long enough that you don't need to go out of your way to accommodate me at this point.
Okay, great. So one of the things that you guys know as a group, working with as a broker's agent, there was a huge, problem when Imperial soldiers were on this world. Renzi had basically tried to extend protection to them according to the laws of war. However, one of her subordinates wanted to torture and kill them. And the townspeople were completely on board with that and nearly burned down the medical infirmary and the jailhouse. So people in Wayrite, they do have a sheriff, but this is a frontier town, so frontier justice is a big deal. Many of the people of Wayrite are former slaves. Zygerians have a terrible reputation with former slaves. We also have 2 communities of particular interest. There is a Wookiee enclave. They don't like Zygerians. There is also an enclave of Evokai from Nar Shaddaa, and they're not big fans either. So before I go into any more specific details, though, I would like a knowledge warfare, a knowledge outer rim check. It's only an average check, no other modifications to it. But depending on what you guys roll, I'll let you guys know some more. Only one roll for the group, though.
Okay, Macron, if you let us do skill assistance, Macron has 2 ranks, but he only has 2 intellect. So if anyone has a bit of intellect, I can give you 2 ranks in it.
Bruno can offer 5 intellect.
Okay, well that seems like a perfect combination. Our powers combine. And do you want to roll it or should I?
Go ahead.
You should have rolled it.
Okay. So, give me 1 second. I've got a little chart here. Okay, here we go. For those advantages, even the citizens of Wayrite who don't have anything personal against the Zygerians aren't really, you know that they probably would not lift a finger to help them if there were any complications that happened to them. So that is what you know. And don't worry, that wasn't a success. That was purely with advantages. So yeah, I'll let you guys discuss Wayrite, and then we'll move to the next planet.
It does have a lot of open space going for it, right? I mean, it's not like they have to live on top of these people, but the problem is if they don't live in the middle.
But on a planetary scale, that still may be too much proximity for these people.
In other words, remember, there is a whole thing about frontier justice, and if Zygerians were living outside of town, away from the sheriff, who's going to call if something happens? In other words, one of the things you guys need to think about is if you're getting the Zygerians off of Zygeria, they need a safe place. So I'm not discounting this. Wayrite is a good idea, and I'm glad you guys brought it up. There was one person in each session that brought it up. So, but it is something to definitely think about.
I have something I'd like to say for Wayrite, and I don't mean to interrupt time, but you can go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh, no, that's it. Go ahead.
Okay. So recently in the R polls, we've been working on a homestead kind of business thing where we have split between the casino and a ranch. So, and we are known as the heroes on Wayrite. So if we do decide to go with Wayrite, the Zygerians don't necessarily have to just live and eke out a living on their own. We can use them as ranch hands. We can use them as workers in the casino. We can show the citizens of Wayrite that those Zygerians as a population have this horrible stigma as being slave owners, that these ones here are looking for a second chance at life.
Right.
And true, that's what everyone on Wayrite is looking for, is a second chance for a second chance at life.
Right.
And so I think if we present Docs and the citizens of Wayrite with that in mind, I think we can convince them that these Zygerians are not, slavers. And they weren't slavers. They were guards.
Right. Oh, so one thing, there is a question on the... because there's a lot of sensitive information being passed around right now at this moment, the Zygerians are not a part of this discussion.
Okay. I just wanted that clear.
Yeah, but they will be brought in, though, once you guys actually come to a decision, because certain places may be wiped off of the holo tank so that they can't see certain things.
Yeah. And if they're working for us at either of those ventures, then they're kind of under our blanket in terms of security. Because if anything happens to either of those homesteads and it's caused by the citizens of Wayrite, then if they ever suffer another crisis, we heroes may not be as apt to help them. At least that's the mentality that they may begin to see.
Right, but that's also a bit of a cold comfort for the people that are already hurt. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, especially for the Evokai, they may see the Zygerians come up and then be reminded of that ancestral memory of the Hutts showing up on their world and pretty much go, oh, well, there goes the planet.
Yeah. So tell you what, let's keep these discussions in mind, these thoughts in mind, but we're going to move on to the next planet. And we'll have some pros and cons for that one as well. Alright, so, Onderon, Whisper Base. The Broker's agents, as members of Rebel Spec Ops, took over this base and successfully defended it against Amoth and his forces. No small feat. Pretty awesome. And you have a major who is, he is your biggest fan. And so anything that you guys want from Major Kithskra, he is on board. So when he got word from Renzi that you were looking for a place for Zygerian refugees, he said sure. There were no qualms about it. And you know for a fact that Major Kithskra is a very fair-minded, honorable man, and Bothan, and will make sure to treat the Zygerians fairly. However, there are some cons, and before I go into the ones, or before I go into some, maybe you guys can bring up some.
Giant frickin' Imperial Navy base, still on the planet's only city.
Yes.
Insane amount of danger with regards to the surrounding jungle and Duxon.
Yes.
Not to mention there's a burgeoning relationship showing up between the natives who aren't in the only city. I want to stress that point. There's only one city, and it's firmly in Imperial hands. So if they wanted to trade, they're kind of shit out of luck.
Right.
But they also have a bunch of natives who can barely work together now after fighting a massive battle, and then we're going to dump in a bunch of aliens on top of that. I think that's really going to strain relations.
Okay. Oh, but one thing though, actually, the natives are kind of getting along. The Darstead villagers are getting along with the Beast Riders. The Klask are getting along with the Dordrell. And ever since the big wedding between the rebel soldier, Juke, and Fanwy of the Beast Rider Hunting Lodge, things have gotten even better. So things are actually okay on Onderon right now.
Well, that's a nice point, but that only happened after one, fighting a battle together, which we actually probably want to avoid for the Zygerians right now, and two, not entirely sure how well a wedding is going to go between them.
Right. So yes, there are definitely some concerns, and a big one: poison itch vine. That's not a very happy experience for anybody.
Oh yeah, if it gets in the fur, they're done.
Another caveat too is that jobs. What are the Zygerians going to do? Well, rebels already have themselves doing work. They also have Darstead villagers. They also have Beast Riders. So the only jobs really available are the more menial jobs. And one thing that you guys know, without even a knowledge check, because you've interacted with Zygerians enough, they are a very prideful people. So even the ones who worked on the station, they still have a lot of pride. So this might kind of rub their fur the wrong way. Before we go to the next planet, though, I would like a knowledge warfare check, and contribution bonuses do apply, but just one check with skilled assistance from the group.
So does do you want to roll this one, Kale?
Sure.
I don't have any ranks to give you anyway, so...
Yeah, he gets the most boost from his contribution as well, I assume.
Is this one average too? And does anyone have
no, this one is actually hard.
What was the question you were going to ask? Oh, okay.
Nice. Okay, so success and advantages. So one thing that you know, Erdogan, is that several of the rebels stationed at Whisper Base have had altercations with Zygerian slaver ships when they rescued a derelict Wookiee starship. Your advantages also tell you that while respect for Major Kithskra and Lieutenant Sears would prevent grievous bodily harm, the rank and file of Whisper Base would have no qualms making the lives of the Zygerians miserable with poison itch vine, bad food, and vermin snuck into their rooms. So that's what you know about Whisper Base. So a possibility, but definitely some things that Erdogan has kind of... Actually, you tell me, Erdogan, how did you find all this out while you were at Whisper Base?
Talk to the men.
I mean, Erdo was fairly wounded after the battle, but that would not have stopped him from drinking and dancing at the party. So
right.
I'm sure he spent a good amount of time afterward chatting people up.
Okay.
I do have one thing I'd like to add. That it, over the course of Whisper Base and Operation Shadowpoint, the rebellion at Whisper Base now also has somewhat of a working relationship with one of the big junk dealers in ISIS. So it's possible that they may not have to just work at Whisper Base, that maybe they may be able to secure some jobs with her. I forget her name at the moment.
Doesn't she work in ISIS though?
She does. Oh yeah, she does have it work in ISIS.
Yeah, getting them anywhere near the city, I think it's a terrible idea until something can be done about the Imperial presence there.
Yes. So, yeah, this one's kind of a tough sell, especially with the knowledge that you uncovered. So, let's head to the next one. And so, this is like a high-tech PowerPoint presentation. Renzi hits the clicker, and here we go to Corfi. All right, so Corfi. It is a colder world. However, it still has seasons, and so unlike some cold worlds that are just completely covered with snow all year round, there are plenty of forests. And for a cold world, it is extremely hospitable, and it has a booming tourist industry, very friendly people overall. And you guys have a very staunch ally in Avadri Nors, one of the senators in the planetary legislature on Corphi. And when she heard word from Renzi that you were looking to house refugees, she also said, no strings attached. They can absolutely come to work for me at my private estate. So, what are some thoughts that you guys have about Corphi in relation to
aside from Audreynor's and maybe her little contingent, a world is solidly in the grasp of the Empire. So, they may be very welcome on the Nor's estate, but if they set foot outside of it, they're probably in trouble.
Not to mention the reasonably harsh environment. Well, it's an inner world, isn't Corphi?
I think it's a core world, if not.
It is.
Oh, so there's that.
So, part of this is that also too, in response to what Macron said. Yeah, unfortunately the choices are pretty slim because a lot of the places that have resources to take people on such short notice are places that are richer, or that you guys have very strong relationships with. And so Corphi is one of those worlds. One thing that you know is that Avadri would absolutely do everything she could to protect these Zygerrians. But yes, those are very valid points.
And as you said, Tommy, that the Zygerrians are a proud people and working, I'm not sure as what, but I'm certain as a servant class at the Norse estate. Again, a pride issue.
Right. So let's do a knowledge core worlds check, and just one for the team once again. And this is just an average difficulty, no other modifications.
I can give 2 ranks in this again, though I think maybe Herdo should be rolling.
You sure? Go for it. Redeem yourself, Jack. Redeem yourself.
Oh, he says that, and watch this roll failure with not even any advantage. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Oh, and also, just for Hisham's benefit, the song that's playing in the background is a very popular song on Corphi. It's in Corfinian, aka Swedish, and yeah, it's something that is played in all different sorts of occasions. It's different versions of it are played for funerals, for dances, and it's come up a couple of times in previous adventures. The agents have gone to Corphi twice now, I believe, and yeah. Okay, so with that roll, success. Corfinians are not fond of slavery, and that was something that came up actually in Frozen Assets. And they know the reputation of Zygerria quite well. Yes, there was a whole issue with Eve. Actually, Riz, can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, well, just from what I recall specifically, Eve being a former slave, she actually still wears her slave collar, just, no chain attached. And it just made everyone feel rather wary. If I'm missing any big details, let me know, but...
On Corphi, she got the cold shoulder.
Yeah, like... Total judgment before even getting to know her, though that might not have helped too much either.
So yeah, with her it was kind of a mixture of pity and disdain because of her status as a slave. And for the advantages, sorry, let me find my place here. So, you know that the Zygerrians do not have to worry about the threat of physical violence. That's just a given. They do not have to worry about that on Corphi. However, all things being equal, they can expect a cool reception and not much social mobility. Alright, so with that, we're going to switch to the next choice. And so, Socorro, which you guys may remember is the location of Shabish Shinar and the Shinar Armory. So this one was actually, Rogesh had gone through your contacts and put out the word, and Shabish Shinar actually got back and said yes, she actually has some lucrative opportunities for enterprising free citizens. And the thing with Shabish is that she's a businesswoman. She doesn't care about species. She doesn't care about creed. As long as you can make her money, then you're good in her book. So she deals in weapons, often very illegal weapons. But she pays well, she pays fairly, and she's been a pretty good ally so far. However, before I go into stuff, you guys tell me some of the pros and cons that you can think of when it comes to Socorro, the Black Sand planet.
Probably that it's just a bunch of black sand.
And it sounds like a pretty lawless place. I'm not certain how lawless these refugees are going to be.
Right. That's a very good point.
Not to mention we are again putting them in a somewhat subservient position, although I guess you're getting paid for it, so I don't know.
Well, also too, so this is one of the things with Shabish. She said there is room for, you know, moving up in the ranks with her. And there's, yeah, I mean, she has no problem with if someone shows some initiative, then they could very well move up to the position of her right-hand cat.
Didn't she, like, betray us at
higher.
one point?
What are you talking about? No, you're talking about Meatmo, the juice dealer.
Okay. Alright, yeah, I must be remembering wrong.
No, Shabish is she's the elderly Weequay, arms dealer.
Okay.
She had a problem with Docs because Docs actually killed her son by accident, collateral damage. But yeah, there was a whole bit of drama with that. But even with all that drama, she still treated all of you fairly because as soon as you pulled out the credit sticks, that's what she cares about.
Okay, I didn't play in that mission, so I honestly have no idea who she is.
Yeah, so she thinks of it that, oh, he killed him, but yes, the actual truth is what Ben just put in chat. So yeah, the thing about Socorro is that, yes, it is a lawless world. That's not a great thing in some ways, but in other ways, who's going to care about Zygerians? Whatever. They deal with Zygerians. They have slaves on Socorro. It's, you know, it's very much like Tatooine, except it has black sand. And so, yeah, but I will let you guys do a knowledge underworld or streetwise check. Before you make the check, though, they both have very different difficulties. So if you choose, and one of them must be chosen, you can't do both. If you choose underworld, it will be a hard check with 2 setbacks. If you choose streetwise, it will be a daunting check, but with 1 boost. So you guys tell me which one do you want to do?
I can throw a pretty good streetwise roll. It's not going to be as good. It doesn't have 5 die like I know Erdo can throw it a knowledge check, but does anyone have any ranks in Underworld you can use to help that?
No.
So, do we want to roll 5 green die at a knowledge Underworld, or 2 yellow, 2 green?
2 yellow, 2 green, and a boost.
Erdo does have researcher, so he would eliminate the setbacks.
I think that's probably the way to go, with a flip and an assist.
Yep, that works for me.
So Zevo has ranks in streetwise?
Macron has a better streetwise skill, but for Underworld...
Well, wait, yeah, we want to do Underworld, which I don't think anyone has any.
Okay, no one has any Underworld. Right.
So I'm saying you should probably flip, because if not, and Zevo will give you an unskilled boost.
Okay.
Alright, so which check are you guys doing?
Underworld. Looks of it.
Okay, great. Okay, so the threat. Right, so the success. You know that Shabish Shinar has expanded her business at the expense of several rivals. That's all you know.
Oh, great. So now we're throwing them what possibly could be an open conflict. But
Well,
these people
it's,
were refugees for a reason.
The thing is, the outer world outer rim isn't exactly safe anywhere, so you know, it's might as well be here fighting on the frontier rather than.
Yeah, but we're still, you know, I mean, there's at least some duty on us to maybe at least try to avoid open conflict. The fact that she's spurned rivals means that she's probably going to get into a fight soon, and I don't think putting refugees into that mix is a good idea.
But we should also look at the Zygerian culture, socio-culturally. They might be open to conflict situations. They're not exactly helpless.
Especially when
these are guards.
Right, especially when it's a possible conflict situation, but they have the choice to rise. They're not stuck in a menial position. They can be guards.
Yes.
They can be advisors. And she's quite interested in Zygerians because they have she sees them as very cunning people, and that this is a great opportunity for her.
Maybe, but they will never have self-determination. They'll always have to go through her. Even if one of them manages to go all the way up to be her right hand, she's still the boss.
Yes, but one of the arguments would be that this is what maybe culturally they would prefer, being fighters rather than being farmers or whatever. I don't know. I'm just assuming here.
No, that's a very good point. That's a very good point, Hisham. Yeah, let's keep those in mind. Great points from everyone on both sides. Like, this is not, like I said, none of these choices are the right or wrong answer, because you guys are going to determine where these Zygerians go, and then from that point on, I will try to incorporate them into the ongoing narrative, and depending on where they end up, things will be different. So, yeah. And then last is a secret world. And this one is Jagamir, and Renzi has, it's right up on the screen, POW camp, which everyone's probably like, what? But she says, no, just hear me out on this. Jagamir is a very safe world in that it is extremely hard to get to. Only 3 people have the exact coordinates to it, and this is the site of a small Imperial POW camp for very important prisoners, and these prisoners are treated well. And the only problem, though, is because it's a very swampy world, very humid, very swampy, they've had trouble getting workers here. So that means there are actually several very high-ranking positions that are open. So if the Zygerians came to Jagamir, they would actually be entering into the management and bureaucrat class on this planet right from the get-go. So they actually would have jurisdiction over a lot of people, including some of the rebel workers. The caveats are, of course, these are Imperials. The Zygerians have just had their homeworld devastated by the Empire. One thing that Renzi made sure to check on, none of the Imperials involved or at this POW camp were involved in that attack in any way. Another thing, and Renzi puts this forth, is that this could be just what both the Zygerians and the Imperials at this camp need, in terms of seeing that the rebellion is not a vengeful group, that we are willing to take people who are enemies and treat them well, treat them according to the laws of war. And the Rebel Alliance has had trouble with Zygeria for, constantly. And here we are providing them a new home. So, yeah. So actually Renzi is like, I think that Jagamir, despite just a first look, could actually be a good choice for these Zygerians.
The thing is, though, even though the Imperials that are held there had no part of the bombing of Zygeria, we could have a similar situation with, like, the citizens on Wayrite, where these Zygerians aren't slavers, but Zygerians are slavers, so we're going to frontier justice them.
Oh wait, no, it wouldn't be that way around. It would actually be the opposite if that were the problem.
I know, it would be the Zygerians taking out their vengeance against the Imperial prisoners held there.
Right, and that is a very good point. And Renzi said, part of the reason why I want to do this is so that people so that people can see that vengeance isn't always the answer, and that on Jagamir, one of the things that has definitely come up is that even though it's a POW camp, the rebels and the Imperials there actually get along because honestly, there's not that much to do on Jagamir, and it's a swampy planet, and so friendships have crossed between the two factions, and so just with her experience on there, this could be a surprisingly good thing. But that's what she thinks.
It could be, but the Zygerians aren't going to be going there with the exact same mindset that the rebel agents have there.
Right.
And even under the rebels' direct control, there may be situations where an Imperial prisoner held there meets with an accident and breaks something, or is injured, or just disappears into the swamp. I mean, the Zygerians, they're refugees. They're coming from where they've just been treated horribly at the hands of the CSA and had literally their ancestral home bombed into cosmic dust by the Empire. So while it may be the best in the long term, I think Renzi isn't putting herself in their shoes and thinking with how they've done, with what they've been through.
No, that's a very good point. Tariq actually has a pretty good point. Well, I guess that's more OOC. Hisham has a good point in terms of great nations have come from prisoner islands, Australia, New Zealand. And that's kind of, yeah, I mean, this is, one of those opportunities here, Star Wars universe wise. But yeah, I mean, there are problems, and we're going to see if you guys can pinpoint some more. I will need a knowledge outer rim or a knowledge xenology check, and it will be daunting with 2 setbacks.
I can give the outer rim to Erdo. That's also an interesting point Erdo raised. What if maybe for the POW camp we could kind of mix Zygerian administration with rebel, I don't want to say oversight, but maybe regulation? That way there's a bit more of a hand there to keep them from taking out their frustration.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So one of the things, that's a very good point. Renzi does mention one of the things is that I mean, it's still a rebel facility. It's not like they're just turning this over. It's just 12 Zygerian refugees. There is a staff of maybe 40 or 50 rebels there, and so they will still be working in certain positions. It's just that skilled workers and skilled bureaucrats, it's been really hard to entice them here, and so you have a lot of more blue-collar workers that are working here on Jagamir. So the Zygerians would fill those positions, but the head of the camp, the warden of the POW camp, is still a rebel, not a Zygerian. Another thing that she also said, just because she's not stupid, the Zygerians will never be in charge of providing the food for the POWs because of just that danger of retaliation. So they would be administrators, they would not be guards here. Oh, was that the check? Or no?
No, okay. I think we're still trying to figure out which check we should do.
So yeah, xenology or outer rim?
So it's going to be 3 green, 2 yellow for outer rim. What is xenology? Would xenology end up being better? Oh, okay, there you go.
All right, so you get a success. So all the success tells you is Jagamir is home to dangerous wildlife. That's all you know. It's
Which
pretty.
Can be said about almost all.
Weren't Rancors from here or something, or that was Darthomir?
That's Dathomir, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, different place. Very, very different place. There are no Night Sisters here, so yeah, nothing like that. But the one thing that this place really does have going for it is that more than any other choice, this is one place the Imperials will never find.
Yes, another thing is, aren't Zygerians hunters, expert trackers and stuff? So they might have a fun tracking, keeping the camp safe from, I don't know, giving them roles as befits their, socio-cultural.
Yeah. By the way, Hisham, I really like yeah, that's a very good point. I like the angle that you're taking. with this. So there are a lot of cultural things to think about, cultural considerations, what the Zygerians may want as well. So with that in mind, we're going to talk about all 5 of them together, and once you guys have come up with your choice, then we'll actually bring the 2 representatives for the refugees in to continue the conversation. So one moment.
Here in the chat is my log of what's happened as kind of a recap. We'll need a reminder.
Oh, sorry, I just had a brain fart. What did you want?
Was that directed to James?
Yeah, for James. I thought he was asking for something. You're
Couldn't
cutting
hear
out.
you, James.
Put together a log so people can review if they've forgotten any of the details.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What is that the log for?
Mission report, but right now it's just kind of the summary of what we've learned about each planet so people can have a summary.
Perfect. Great.
I think we should I think the planets we should put on the table are Singram 3, Onderon, and Jagamir. And I know Onderon is really iffy with the Imperial presence, and Singram has all of that pent-up tension. But I think either for Onderon, we kind of shift the Zygerians more on the Darstead villagers and the rebels to just try to get them separate as quickly as possible.
Right.
And Singram, we should emphasize that our protection is on the Zygerians.
Right. Oh, some more. Let me just put in some more information as well. You also need to consider transportation. So Wayrite, that's fine. Onderon, you do have to worry about Imperial customs, because if you try to direct drop to Whisper Base, that could possibly expose Whisper Base. So you would need to get the Zygerians through customs, and then from there get them to Whisper Base. That's not impossible. You know, remember that even though the Empire has devastated the Zygerian homeworld, there are other Zygerians that still do business with the Empire. And, you know, remember that as a culture, a lot of these far-flung Zygerian colonies feel no kinship to the Zygerians of Zygeria. So, just because someone is Zygerian does not mean that they are from that devastated homeworld. So, there's that to consider. The other thing to consider about Jagamir is that, remember, there are only 3 people that have those coordinates. So, unlike Singram 3 and Onderon, where you've already been given permission, yes, bring them here if you want. For Jagamir, you actually need to convince the triumvirate of leaders who preside over the rebel base on Arda 1.
And so, Zivo also made a point earlier that I don't know if everyone saw, but that if we choose Jagamir, the Zygerians are basically trapped there. If they decide, man, living in a swamp sucks, it's really hard for them to leave because they don't have a way off. They have to get permission to go, basically.
Right.
And I think that might be something that might just be worth telling them right up front.
Yeah. And also, too, there is something to be said for when you have to stay in some place, you make it work. But
in fact, I'm all for allowing them to at least choose between maybe 2 or 3 of the planets on here.
Okay.
My short list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rock has an idea for a 6th option. Because he's gonna bring up I forget what was the name of the space station, Jack, from A Game of Chairs?
Actually, to be honest, I can't remember at the top of my head, but we can say Rock brings that up. Macron's just going to shake his head. No, that is not going to work. This cultural differences aside between the Caesarians and the Zygerians, they will not. They're not going to let that fly.
Oil and water.
Basically.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like we've got Singram 3, Onderon, and Jagamir are on the table, right?
Yeah.
I'm inclined to think that we should not risk whisper base because we have intentions on eventually progressing with the getting the empire out of Underon. I wouldn't risk whisper base because we're looking for a long-term, medium to long-term solution for these individuals who can probably then attract more Zygerians.
Right.
So we're looking for some place where we can get these guys settled, and then possibly they can get in touch with their families and get them in there, and then make an exodus sort of thing and set up a new Zygeria or something.
Right.
Yeah, Zevo, kind of thinking along those lines, would promote Corfi and Socorro the most heavily because they, in many ways, would give the Zygerians the most kind of autonomy. Everywhere else, they're kind of under someone else's watch, where at least in those places they would have a chance to do their own thing a little bit.
Okay.
And especially if we're going to keep moving a larger population, like, they can start to establish an actual colony and, diversify what they do.
Yeah, climate-wise, Socorro matches Zygeria the most in terms of hot desert type of climate. Corfi, not so much. But still, all of these, everything you guys have said, valid, and you guys tell me, do you want to bring the Zygerians now, or do you want to hash things out before we move forward with the Zygerians?
I would not offer them. I like the idea of giving them, like, here are the 3 planets that we think are the best. I would not offer, absolutely not offer Singram 3, and probably not Onderon.
Okay. Why not Singram 3? I'm curious what Zevo's reasons are.
I think there's, we have it's such a small place that if there is tension, you can't really, like, make space, kind of. Like, you can't get separation. Like, in my mind, as someone who does a lot of sailing, it's like when you're on an overnight sailing race, you can't get away from the people you're with because you have 30 feet of boat to deal with, and that's it. Like, it's a little bit the same thing, so you can't really, if we send them away, they're gone.
Sorry, I just read what Ben said.
No. I mean, who knows?
Okay.
I think there's just too much potential for tension that doesn't have an easy or, solution.
I actually think that sort of tension might be important for a growing, if they want to learn to live with other people and forget their slaver past and prove to people that they're actually people that can live with. Maybe that sort of challenge and tension might be just what the community needs. I don't think we should force our views on them in that sense that they would do something wrong here, do something, or they'll be unsafe there. They can take care of themselves. They've been doing that. Zygerians are known to be proud of their, they can take care of themselves and stuff. So we should just offer them the options. Maybe not whisper based for tactical and strategic reasons, because it's a secret. We have plans there, and we don't want We don't want to add uncertainty to it. I'm open to giving them the options of any of their, just letting them decide how they fit into the system.
Right. One thing that when you guys do bring the Zygerians, if they do have a choice, Renzi won't actually say the names of these planets just for security reasons, but obviously you guys will be able to tell them some of the pros and cons. But at this point, so do you guys want to open it up to them completely, like all 5 choices, or do you guys want to narrow it down?
I would get rid of at least Onderon. I'm fine leaving Singham 3 in for now.
Okay.
Yeah, and Corfi really is, I don't think anyone, well, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I don't think Corfi is going to be, Corfi seems to have the most, the more glaring problems that I think the Zygerians are just going to completely dissuade. So I don't think we need to bring Corfi to the table.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. So at this point, do I bring them in? 2 representatives? And yeah, okay. I'll let you guys hash it out with the 2 representatives, and of course, James and Jack will be providing the RP for these 2 reps. So one moment, and I'll let them also introduce themselves too. Let's see, where did they go?
Yeah, so we're getting rid of Core 5, but did we finalize getting rid of Onderon from the options?
Yeah, I say we should get rid of Onderon as well.
Okay.
I agree.
Risking whisper, like what Hisham said, risking whisper base is too much of a risk.
I'm going to give you guys control of these, and 1 second, I'll do the nameplates too. And if you can put in their full names, you don't have to worry about stats, obviously. 1 second, I still need to give permissions. Yes. Okay, you should be able to put in their full names.
Okay.
James, are you able to edit that?
You need to grab it.
Okay, great. So, yes, Jack, introduce your character.
My character is former Minister Svenna Rapal. She was a moderate in the short-lived democracy of Zygeria who wanted to straddle a line between getting rid of the to better elaborate on that, she believed in the Zygerian ideals of solidarity and kind of a not a might makes right policy, but just a force of will that Zygeria has that she believes shouldn't be mitigated by melding it with the rest of the galaxy. However, she did not agree with the Slaver Union and later Alberon's ideas of, we'll be strong by having slaves. So that's why she decided to leave and hopefully forge a new path for her people elsewhere.
All right. And James, introduce yours.
Narosa is he's a trafficker who smuggled illegal or tariff goods into Zygeria and would sometimes traffic undocumented slaves off planet. With the loss of the slave economy, has hurt the bottom line. He's always looking for new opportunities, and in his mind, a democratic government means more laws, and more laws mean more things people need to move under the radar. He's mostly apathetic to who exactly is governing, preferring to run his operation in whatever shadows they lead.
Okay. So at this point, here's some of the freeform element. You know, Aaron and Iran. How do you pronounce the name again?
We'll go with Iran.
Iran. So Iran and Svenna, you guys, take it away. What do they say? What do they say about these ideas?
So before her is Singham 3, Skoro, and Jagomir, right? If she immediately looks at all of them and tisks very loudly. She looks at, she actually doesn't know who is probably behind arranging these plans, so she just looks at all of you and says, these are our options.
Oh, one thing to keep in mind though, this is very much an any port in a storm situation. So yeah, there is the whole thing with Zygerian pride, but there's also something to keep in mind that the Zygerians would also know that the Zygerian colonies all said no, and that a lot of other places said no as well. And these are the places that said yes. So yeah.
She knows all this. She's still not happy.
Okay. That is her right.
Iran would want to hear more about the planet with a business opportunity for enterprising Zygerians.
Okay.
He's definitely that's definitely his pick. He sees an opportunity for someone like himself to really make a new life.
That would be Socorro. I mean, do you guys tell him about Socorro?
Yeah, Rock will let him know that if they choose Socorro, they'd be working with a close associate of the group, who traffics in weapons and things like that.
Right.
We'd be working for a close associate of yours.
Alternatively, Singram also offers opportunities for enterprising. It's a pioneer town area, city, whatever. It's a pioneer. It's got you guys can find new frontiers. And Jagomir, of course, you can supply things to a camp, and there's a supply economy that you need. You're not necessarily smuggling, but there are some legal things as well.
Mhm.
And with
Import-export specialist, exactly.
So yeah, that's with Socorro, and with on Wayrite, because it is a frontier town, and we're setting up. I'll say there's some new businesses opening up, within a reasonable time frame where they can get started working there, and then if they choose to start their own enterprises on Wayrite, then that's their prerogative.
Right.
It's up to them.
A couple of you had actually mentioned Jagamir as a first choice, so why don't you guys speak up about that?
Okay. Macron will then speak up and say, it is a world with probably the closest thing you can get to a blank slate. It's wild, untamed, hard to get to, barely controlled. If your start there will be hard and it will be slow, but eventually this can be a world you can make your own.
If I could add to that and say, it's probably not something that you can handle, like sort of tapping into their pride and stuff, that sort of reverse psychology of sorts, that only the toughest may survive there and prove themselves.
Savannah looks quite incensed.
It's only for the strong.
How much would you say about how much would you say about like the isolation of Jagamir?
That's kind of what Macron's trying to sell. Like he's saying, this is the best place to start if you want to build something for yourselves, but it's going to be a very slow process because you will have a lot of trouble getting there. And Macron actually nod to Aaron, and this can be a world where you'll find plenty of. I just lost the word. This is a place where a person with your skills could probably find the most use.
Oh, even more than Socorro. Okay.
Well, I mean, there's no way for him to get in or out there. Like, you can't do business if you can't go to and from it.
Oh, I think that someone had mentioned that it would be more about the internal economy there.
Right, but that's not his specialty, though.
Right.
If I could ask the question, how many POWs are in that camp? Just ballpark figure.
I would say probably around 100. So, not a lot compared to how many. I mean, they're much, much bigger camps. Because once again, this is for more upper echelon type of criminals. Not criminals, sorry. Soldiers. And so just usually higher ranking officials versus the rank and file of the Empire are housed here. And one of the reasons is because they never want them to get away. And they're pretty confident that the Empire will never find Jagamir. Partly because only 3 people know the exact way to get there. And those are the 3 at Arda-1 base.
That probably would not interest the import-export specialist.
Right.
Yeah, Jagamir, he's not big on it. And the swamp, do you know what swamp does to fur? I mean, it's disgusting.
Yes, but
wet, it smells.
You would rather be on Socorro where the sand gets everywhere?
At least they're used to the sand.
Well, come to think of it, you might be able to find some special, drugs that haven't been discovered anywhere else in the swamps and stuff like that.
And that's true. So this is the one thing to consider too. That's actually a very good point. Even if freedom of movement is restricted on Jagamir, that doesn't mean that he can't procure things and then have someone else sell them for him. I mean, Jagamir's it's not very well known. Who knows what is in the outskirts of Jagamir?
Well, it seems to be almost completely unknown if only 3 people know how to get there.
Exactly.
Oh, only 3 people have the exact coordinates. Other people have pieces, but yeah.
That would
it's a
mean
safety
that
measure.
literally anybody who knows where it is would have a monopoly on all the import-export from it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so lots of possibilities. Once again, though, this is one of those things where it's a really tough choice. You are helping people make a very, very important life choice here, and there's no wrong or right answer. But we do need to kind of narrow it down, and we need to, maybe narrow it down to 2 choices, and then go from there. So, what do you guys think would be the like everyone put in their top 2 choices, and then once we have those top 2 choices, we'll do kind of a runoff.
Kitty-wise, once Savannah heard about the relationship the Zagarians would have with Shibishi, she immediately dismissed Sakaro.
Oh, okay. All right. Sakura and Singaram, Jagomir. Okay, so Jagomir is definitely one of them, and it looks like it's going to be a close one for the second place between Singram and Socorro. So let me.
No, Socorro's got like 5 votes or something.
Oh, it does. And Singram has how many?
Well,
okay,
are we counting the kitty votes right here?
Actually,
you did put in Aaron's vote too.
Yeah, so that's a question for you guys. So this is part of the collaborative nature of this. Do you guys want them to have a vote along with you guys, or are you putting forth this decision for them to choose between the ones that you have,
I would actually say that they should decide, and we shouldn't even be voting for it.
There are some security considerations, which is why you guys are, and also you guys are the ones who will be facilitating all contact with, you guys are the ones who have the relationships built, so that's why you're part of the decision-making process. In a better world, it would be nice to say, yeah, you guys can just make a choice, but this is part of your reputations on the line as well, so I really do think that the agents should definitely have a part in the decision-making process.
It's also worth noting that they probably both have their own absolute preference different, but they can both agree on Sigram. I didn't type out her vote, but I already said it.
Okay. Alright, so... Oh gosh. It looks like... Alright, so we've got Jagomir, but it looks like we've gone back and forth between the second choice, which is between Singram and Socorro. So why don't we talk about that a little bit before we move on? And I think someone was saying something.
Sorry, if the Ziberians both favor Singram and are willing to take the risk, then Erdo would back them. If they really think that they can make peace with all those former slaves, then Erdo would support that.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it seems like you're just kind of choosing which enemy you'd face. Socorro, you'd always be working for someone. You're not going to be stuck at the bottom, which is a point, but you'll never be your own leaders. And on Singram, you're going to have to deal with the fact that a majority of the population on the planet currently hates you.
Yeah,
well, I think that's
almost burned down some very important buildings.
Yeah, and they're easy to succumb to mob mentality.
I'd say that the fact that they'd never be kind of self-determined Socorro is very short-sighted. Initially they might not be, but no one says that they have to work for Shiba Shinar forever.
That's true.
They'd have to build their own business from scratch then, which they probably don't have a lot of hope of.
Oh, no. That's not what he's saying.
They have backgrounds. These aren't all just, mindless drones.
Yeah, and also if they worked for Shiba Shinar and gave her some, honest time, if they wanted to branch off, why not with the money they've made with her? So yeah, that's a very valid point, James.
I'm not saying that she wouldn't forbid them. I'm just saying Socorro doesn't just seem like a place in and of itself that people would want to be.
Right.
Look at it. It's completely black. It's not very cool.
It's most closest to Zagirian environment.
Well, it is now.
Oh, no. Zagiria's environment was a desert, and Socorro is a desert as well.
So they would fit. They could continue living as they wish to live and they wouldn't have to adjust their, to the climate and stuff. So it would be welcome to them.
Well, there are deserts on Singram, aren't there? I mean, the planet as a whole is probably mostly Terran.
Yeah, lots of plains, mountains, and things like that. So, not like Zygeria, actually.
But again, with one of the kind of negatives we had for Onderon was that it had one city. Well, Singram 3 has one village.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest the biggest problem there is trade. I agree with you there, but the point I was trying to stress was that the one city that was there was also the one that had the massive Imperial presence.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, so let's do this. Jagomir's on the table, but we've got a little bit of an impasse between Socorro and Singram 3. I'm going to say that even though the representatives are here, once again, you guys are the ones who are facilitating all of this, and so you have to be comfortable with where you're going to be placing Zygerians. And so I'm going to say that you guys need to vote between Socorro and Singram 3, just the characters, just the broker's agents on that choice, and then once we have that one, we'll also do votes between Jagomir and the other. All right, so how many do we have here? Yeah, make sure everyone putting your votes in the chat.
Three.
Can I abstain?
Suppose we're not going to force you to talk.
Yeah. Oh, remember, for this though, it's just the agents who are voting. But yeah, both of the Zygerians, I believe, wanted Singram over Socorro. Okay.
Well, it's like Anna was going for Jagomir and Singram, and Aaron was like Socorro and Singram. I think they both have different best choices, but they seem like they're both willing to fall back to Singram.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it was acceptable to both, but not preferable to either.
Okay, so it looks like Singram is the second choice. So now we've got Jagomir and Singram 3. And so you guys will need to vote on that.
Can we excuse them for a minute and speak amongst ourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're not there.
Okay. So Ziva would point out that Singram's fine, but how many of these outcast groups are we planning on bringing in? It seems like we're starting an orphanage on the planet.
It's a planet. It's a big place.
But it's not a big place right now. It's one town right now. And I don't think part of our plan is to send them out into the east to start their own...
No. Well, we've already had the Wookiees create their own settlement, and I think the Evokai did as well.
It's a frontier place. It's only one town, but it's as much room to expand as they're willing to put work into.
We can drop them on the other side of the planet from this town, and there'll be two towns on Singram then, instead of one.
But if we just leave them to own devices, then we risk the other people on the planet, seeking them out for frontier justice. If we have them start in one of our two homestead operations, in either the ranch or the casino, or hell, both, why not? Then they can at least become acquainted and get acclimated to the situation. And if we address the people, the Wookiees, the Evokai, and the citizens of Wayrite, and tell them, and stress to them that these Zygerians were not slavers, they were guards. They were other things.
Just to add something though, sorry to interject, but this is a very important interjection.
Mm-hmm.
That point is basically moot because they were guards on a facility that processed thousands and thousands of slaves. So they were very much a part of the slave business. So saying that they were guards won't really mean a lot to the people of Wayrite.
Okay. But they're here because their home was devastated by the Empire. Their home was literally annihilated by the Empire, and they're seeking. refuge. They're looking for a second chance,
Right.
which is
If I
what
could say
everyone on Singram 3 has in common.
Yes, that's exactly. That's what I was. The point. You're right. They're all. Everybody has. There's a reason they're all on the frontier. Everybody has something in their past. The Wookiees that they're setting up a colony, they probably broke off with some tribe or something, and they, ran over there. Everybody has something, so they have equal rights to the planet, and I guess the second chance is right.
Once again, we're talking about safety, we're talking about longevity, we're talking about where these Nigerians can get the most out of that, and also what would be a place that can welcome some more if, they find it welcoming. So those are the considerations.
And at this point, with only those options left, Zevo is not really going to want to send people into the kind of isolation that Jagomir represents. That just seems...
It seems cruel.
Well, think of it this way, though. Isolation, but there will be people there, and then there will be more Zygerians there if they find it to their liking.
It all depends on what social enterprise this group is trying to attain. If they're trying to build a new society and aspire for those ideals and stuff, maybe Jagomir is good. But if they want to just set up shop and just get into the system, start living, then maybe Singram is good. So it depends on what their social enterprise is.
Okay, yeah, actually, let's talk about that. How easy do you think it's going to be between those two places doing that?
Well, on Jagomir, they someone mentioned it's a blank slate, and they've got a whole planet to expand into. They've got a challenging environment which they can actually put their minds to surviving. And then in Singram, they can be part of the frontier and grow as that culture does, and the rules and regulations of that sort of society.
Right.
So I guess.
Yeah, this is a tough one. But yeah, either one. How do you guys want to approach the Zygerians with this? Do you want to give them the choice between these two, or do you guys want to choose and say, hey, we think that this one is the best one for you?
All for self-determination. I say we let them choose.
Okay.
Yeah, if they don't, agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this would need to be not just your representatives, but also, kind of all the Zygerians. They probably would say, like, hey, to the other 10, where do you think we should go? So, keep that in mind. I'm not going to have everybody RPing all of them, but, that's, yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
So I guess they just come in and see that their choices are now Jagomir and Singram.
Mm-hmm.
Svenna will look, nod a bit, but then look at Aaron and say, Jagomir certainly would be a deal breaker for you, wouldn't it?
Was that an oblique reference to the deals he likes to make? Is that the tone it would have been delivered in, or?
No, she's being a bit more literal. Deal breaker. She's not trying to slide a pun in there. Or
he
reference.
would turn to her and say, I, as much as beggars can't be choosers. I don't want to choose the swamp.
I would much rather us have a open foundation for us to build something apart from Alberon's cruelty and the indifference of the colonies, but we can certainly not build. I cannot build it alone, and we need people like we need to do this together. And if you do not wish to go to Jagomir, I think we can both agree that Singram will be our best option.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
If I could just revisit the question that we were talking about, if I may, with your permission.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm asking the refugees.
Svenna appears. She knows you're the one that was kind of agreeing with her, so she doesn't have anything against you speaking.
Oh, thank you. The thing is, you have to consider the needs of a future, not just the needs of the 12, but the needs of 2,000, maybe 5,000. And you have to realize that on one planet there is an existing number of other races, and on the other planet there's just a camp, which POW camp, or if I can say that, if that's allowed intelligence.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's the other thing to think about, guys. So once these Igerians have settled, there are other refugees that will be looking for places to go, and so you have the people of Wayrite. How do you think? I shouldn't be pushing one or the other. There are important considerations to really think about when you're. Yeah, so that's a big one. There will be more Zygerians coming wherever you guys choose.
I would just want you to consider to the refugees. I'm addressing that. I want you to consider down the line, if you want to build Zygerian society, would it be easier to build it on a planet where you're the majority very soon, or where you're just one of 3 other or 4 other races sharing a planet? But maybe that's what you need to learn, to share things. Maybe isolation has led you down this terrible path, and maybe now sharing society or a planet with other races would make it easier for you to become. I actually have a Holo 5 translator built into my color amp, so it translates it into. Thanks. Okay.
Take that, Eve. Senna nods and says, I do not disagree with you. She kind of squints at your name tag, Hisham. However, to choose this life, if even in our microcosm choosing this would fracture our group, then it speaks volumes of what it would do to whatever Zygerian society is left that hasn't fallen to Alberon's sway.
So actually, that's a good point. I mean, what does Aaron say to that information that Tariq just gave you?
I think so I see what you're saying. I'm not well versed in the history enough to say that the cause of any of these issues were species isolation. I have no problem living alongside others in this situation. Perhaps it is a way to help integrate new ideas into our way of thinking.
Okay. Another thing to consider is that different places might have different caps on refugees. So, yeah, depending on how the situation develops. So, yeah. But it sounds like you guys have decided on Singram 3, right?
Yes, we shall try to build ourselves anew there. And if they do not wish us to be with them, we shall forge our own separate path.
Through war and domination, like the old Zygeria.
Through separation and isolation.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, we are going to head to Wayrite. We've got 12 refugees, and it's going to be kind of a tight fit in the cargo bay of the Sunflare. And maybe you guys have moved some things around to make things a little bit more comfortable for them and whatnot. But the way to Wayrite is pretty well known, Outer Rim colony. And as you guys are traveling there, do you guys have any things that you want to tell them before they get there, things that you want to warn them about?
I'd like to send word to Docs to gather the Wookiees, the Evokai, and all the citizens of Wayrite he can, because there will be some new arrivals, and we will need to address all of the people of Sangram 3.
I quickly run down the checklist of shots and flu shots and measles shots and all the things they need for the surviving the local planet, without getting infected and stuff. It's natural to do that first.
Okay. So as you guys are flying to Wayrite, all of a sudden alarms go off and you guys are dropped out of hyperspace. This is not something that is supposed to happen. So, oh, you guys aren't supposed to see those. Delete them.
Quick, cover your eyes!
Alright, you guys are going to have to scroll down and you're going to have to pull out zoom-wise quite a bit.
Oh, crap in a basket.
So, 1 second here. So you see a Marauder-class Corvette that is quickly approaching the sun flare. It is emanating some sort of field that it's a small ship compared to an interdictor, but somehow it has pulled you out of hyperspace. Over your comms, you hear a female voice that says, "You have entered the space of the Veiled Sorority. Give up your ship, and we will provide transportation to the nearest civilized world. Resist, and we will kill every single living being on your ship." And with that, I want everyone to roll initiative.
Ha! You guys are boned. I'm not alive.
I don't think they discriminate against droids. Which, unfortunately, in this case, sucks for you. Oh!
I've got, I'm at 3.7 because I get 3 from my threat monitor.
I'm gonna go grab a snack. I'll be right back.
Oh, actually, let's take a really quick break, and we are back. And I actually need to get the page on the right one. All right, so those two triumphs, 2 assault pods launch out, and let's see how far they can go. They're pretty fast, so. Yes. So.
Did we really not notice them until they got to short range to us?
Well, you guys dropped like right by them. That's the point.
They yanked us out of hyperspace.
They yanked you out of hyperspace. All right, so those are my 2 maneuvers, free maneuvers.
Well, we have a tractor beam. We could probably grab one.
Remember, our guns have turrets now too.
Them from crashing into us. Well, I was thinking mainly that we would give up as a feint and then kill them.
Oh, I like that.
That's
I don't think that's going to work with these assault pods. Because then the ship can still sit back, and we're not going to be able to give up without a fight.
Let's
I do
warn
have.
them of
Hold
an
on, let
impending.
me double check
There's
something here for a sec.
Oh, sorry, 2 people are speaking at once. So.
Sorry.
Yeah, Jack, what are you saying?
I was trying to decide whether or not we have nothing that can face rear.
Yeah, the blaster cannons are now turreted. So they can fire 4 aft and their side.
Yeah, that was an improvement from one of the contributions or something?
Yep. I think rank 3.
Which weapon? The twin?
The turret-mounted light ion cannons.
Oh, okay. So we can use... Oh man, the ion cannon's not going to do any damage.
They do 5 damage.
System strain.
Yeah. Oh, guys, give me 1 second. So, what were you saying, Keishan?
I know it's a bit late right now, but can we begin this, maybe we can try to convince them that there's 12 Zygerian Ebola patients on board, which means this ship is, biomedical hazard.
That's
if
certainly
you
an
want to
option.
come on board, that's just fine. You can come on board, but you'll be taking back some goodies with you.
That's
Yeah,
perfect.
that's a valid deception check. Give me 1 second. I'm actually going to bring your tokens over.
Hisham, you and me, let's go to the comms, see if we can't give this pirate captain a nice scare.
Tariq is the character's name.
Tariq, yes.
Alright, so you guys are not in space, but I'm just putting your tokens there so that you can be there.
Help! I can't breathe.
Of course, right when you say that, I cough.
This is well. Do you have a good deception? Because my deception.
Oh
sounds
yes,
charm.
I have a very lovely deception. I'm just
So
gonna.
I was going to say maybe this is one where we do a little combo of medicine with cunning or something.
Yes, that would work. I've got medicine 3 ranks.
I have cunning 4.
So let's combine those, and we explain to the. I mean, I can go down in that doctor voice, you know, like.
I think they might. Yeah, that whole Wookiee with the translator thing might be a little weird for them. Macron will speak up, and then maybe you could have, you could like start talking in the background about how some of the patients are hucking up phlegm.
Okay.
We're beginning
Trying
to
to
bleed
sell
out.
it that it's like so yeah, Macron's gonna get on the comms and say, this is the medical cruiser. Who wants to come up with a good name for a medical cruiser?
The Requiem.
Sure. This is the medical cruiser Requiem. We will offer no resistance to boarding. However, we are carrying what is it? Macron looks back at you. It's like, was it 18? 18? Yes. 18 highly infected Zygerians. We managed to get off of Zygeria. They are infected with this horrific pox.
This level 4 quarantine has been enforced. Level 4, I repeat.
Okay.
Yes, I'm afraid if
There
you're
are only 12 left now.
yeah, I'm afraid if your assault pods breach us, we will have a quarantine breach.
Okay, so you'll be rolling against the leader, and this situation, though, they're pirates for a living. They hear things all the time. So this is actually going to be 4 setbacks, because this is what they do. It's 4 setbacks, and the leader is 4 discipline, and she has 2 ranks of nobody's fool. So that's going to be 5 reds. So it's 5 reds and 4 black.
Ooh, okay. That doesn't
Okay,
look good.
I'm gonna flip to activate on magic.
Udo wanted to do a valuable fact check going into this.
Okay. Yeah, you should do that, Erdo.
What kind of knowledge do you want?
Xenology.
Education, xenology, one of those two, I guess.
Wait, so it has to be a knowledge check, and I would say that you would need to do a knowledge underworld because you're dealing with pirates right now.
Well, I think he's trying to make a disease fact.
Then it would be medicine.
Chip,
It has to be a knowledge skill, though. Medicine.
Well,
isn't.
so what I'm saying is that maybe he can't do valuable facts on this one.
What if we look for a specific disease that pirates are aware of, and that's
do
sort
we
of
have time to look through the database to figure that out?
No, it's not looking
Well,
through the
I'm-
database. It's someone actually knowing this.
Yeah, I'm actually an infectious disease expert, so you know I can help
Yeah.
Erdo check the facts. I don't know, or recall some facts.
No, I mean, the
Medicine plus. Oh, are they all humans, by the way? Do we know what race these particular pirates are? Or are they mixed?
Oh, you don't know? Not yet. I mean, you can do another roll check.
Yeah, it has to be a knowledge skill. Oh, really? Huh.
Well, yeah,
Well, I
I mean,
think-
so that's the point, because this is very specifically medicine. So, you know,
Well, I mean,
knowledge
you could-
education isn't really hitting the specifics that you need for valuable
I
valuable
feel like
facts.
it falls under xenology pretty well, because it's
Yeah.
innate to disease, which seems to cover that kind of biology aspect.
Yeah, it depends on if we're aiming for particularly the race of the pirates that we know then we can say that we're looking for that disease for the pirates.
Okay, that's a good one. If you guys can make a knowledge underworld check, that gives you some more information, then yes, I'll allow it to be a knowledge xenology check. But just making a knowledge xenology check without really knowing much isn't going to give you some valuable facts. So
Well, about a certain. Okay, I mean, yeah, whatever. But I think
There has to be like in a galaxy where everyone's been meeting each other for thousands of years. That'd be some diseases that are cross species.
Oh yeah, probably a lot. But
well, yeah, the whole point of what I'm saying is that just having a little bit more knowledge is what is going to allow you guys to make a valuable facts. Because let me put it this way: what if, just saying this, if all of these pirates were actually droids? You know, like
Yes, that's true.
yeah, I mean, you guys don't know anything about the Veiled Sorority unless you make that check to know more about them. So once you guys
Makes
make that
sense.
check, then it opens up the door for other options.
The woman on the phone sounded pretty human.
She did. But,
And
I
again,
mean,
very
she could have been a
well-
Twi'lek. It
really,
could be all
you know.
Twi'leks. It could be all Zeltronians or whatever they're called. So, yes, they have started to become a little bit more notorious. So it is going to be a hard check. And, like, due to recent events, there would have been some setbacks, but it's just a hard check. Hard Underworld.
If they're notorious, it'll make it easier for us to find out.
Well,
That's what
they've
reason
kept
it's not
everything
easy.
under wraps, which is why
Under
there were
wraps,
some
okay.
setbacks, and I took away the setbacks.
Okay.
All right. So, unfortunately, yeah, you guys don't know enough about the Veiled Sorority to make the sort of check. You can't get enough valuable information on them, so no valuable facts check on that. Sorry.
So they're called the Veiled Sorority.
Veiled Sorority.
So they must be females then.
That is a
Alright.
good assumption. There's actually a lot
So-
more to them, like canon-wise, but yeah.
Okay.
Someone's been reading on the Fantasy Flight articles.
No, no.
Okay, so we can't do valuable facts.
So
How
now
would
it's
we do this,
5 challenge,
roll?
4 setbacks.
No,
Deception.
I've got the difficulty calculated right. What
Okay.
are we going to do for our side? Because were we going to really do that mix of cunning and medicine, or was it going to be straight deception?
Oh, if you guys want to do that, I'll say yes. You can flip a destiny point, and you can do skilled assistance matching medicine to cunning. Yes.
I don't
Okay,
know if
before-
that's-
don't do it yet, because I have 3 ranks in deception, and if you just have 3 ranks in medicine, that's not really good. That's might as well save the destiny point.
I'll
Or, yeah,
even
you
say
could
that
try.
that gives a bonus. I mean, that's really cinematic, having a doctor giving you information here. So I'll say it's worth the skilled assistance with the bonus.
But that's still if we flip.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just to double check, how many does Hisham only have 3 ranks in medicine?
That's
Okay.
right, yeah.
All right. Then that's. Oh, okay. Yeah. So how many boosts would it give?
I'm just giving it 1 boost. So mechanically, you're still doing a deception check, but you're adding his medical knowledge, which is giving you a boost on top of. Oh, I see what you're saying because you already have the 3 ranks. Okay, yeah, I'll make it. Because in other words, it would just be an unskilled assistance. So let's put it this way: it's unskilled assistance, but he gives you 2 boosts. So it's mechanically advantageous to have a doctor doing this for you.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's still if we flip, or is that now just a specialized unskilled assistance?
For the flip, I mean, you know, you're lucky.
Okay,
It's-
then let's go ahead and flip. I'll take the 2 boosts then. Okay,
I thought you already
so-
flipped for it. Was that for something else?
No, that was for unmatched expertise.
Okay.
So
And
that
I'll
knocks-
actually give you some light side back. So
Wait,
it's
5
reds, 1 purple, 4 black.
doing a thing. Oh, actually, I'm idiot. Can I do unmatched insight, or does that need to be a little more in person?
That needs to be more. That has to be in person.
Okay.
Okay, so I knocked off the 1 challenge die with the 2 decreases. I actually get rid of all the setback because of plausible deniability.
Okay.
I have the 2 boosts, the 3 ranks, the 1 green. This thing is going to be really close.
Go for it.
Natural Charmer, reroll. That's better.
Boom.
He did it first.
Okay. Yeah. So there's some threats, but you tell me. What do you do, or what do you get?
I actually knock off 1 because I'm wearing a nice jacket.
You want me to get rid of the other one?
I mean, you're not going to knock off one because they can't see the jacket. Not in this case.
I thought a hologram would show up.
No, you only heard a voice.
Okay, well then, yeah, I'll have Zevo's interjection give me
so many advantages.
I guess Zevo's also talking in the background about, oh, this one's got me, and he starts coughing.
Okay.
So that actually gives me. Oh wait, no, because you have to succeed on the interjection in order for that to work. So that
it doesn't say that, I don't think.
I brought up the same thing a long time ago, and we pretty much kind of settled it on. It has to at least succeed. So we can have the one advantage in your previous check, not off one threat. So that leaves me with 4 successes, a threat, and a triumph.
Okay.
For that one threat, jeez, it seems so minor with everything else. I don't know.
I
maybe
would say
not.
that they've noted the sunflare, so I would say that probably just like 1 point of group obligation.
Who wrote our name on the side of the ship?
They will remember the ship.
For one threat only.
So that's why it's only 1 obligation. Let me put it this way, though, guys. You've really undercut what was supposed to be a huge, huge thing, but I'm letting you guys do it. So I think that as a trade-off, 1 group obligation is not a big deal.
Could it be perhaps maybe 1 personal obligation for 1 threat? Like they
sure, your
specifically know
voice,
Macron's
voice.
I'll take the hit for that.
Okay.
Okay, but we have the successes and the triumph.
Okay. So yeah, they believe you, and it appears that there was actually another ship. Like you can hear over the comms, like, "Oh my God, another one!" It's like, "Crap, so and so died because of that." No, pull off. Oh, sorry about. Oh, that's someone coughing in the background. They're dying. So yeah, the assault pods actually turn off. They're like, "Nope, you're not going to take the ship." Yeah, they start to veer off, and you soon get out of range of whatever it was that was causing the interference, and you can get back into hyperspace. So, yeah, you guys do. You just avoided oh gosh, wow. All right, good job though. So you guys blast off, and
Also roll that.
yeah, well done. Okay, you guys arrive on Wayrite, and let me bring over your tokens as well, because we still have just a little bit more to go in this. I know we're kind of we're hidden time here, but I'll try to make it quick. Tokens. I think I moved you guys over. Yes, I did. Okay. Give me 1 second. I need to reset the size, and the easiest way for me to do that is to rejoin as a player and then rejoin as a GM. Alright, 1 moment as it switches me back. Okay. You guys are on Wayrite. And actually, Ben, since you're here, if you want to RP some stuff with Docs, feel free. Like, what does Docs say when, you know, they arrive with Zygerians and they have chosen Wayrite?
I think he just gives them the usual routine. He hands out like a pamphlet of the procedures that the broker and him set up for like security and stuff, and tells them that they have to follow that or else he'll be at their door sometime. Right.
And I believe Rock was the one who said gather everybody, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. The leaders of the Wookiee Enclave and the Evokai Enclave are there. There is an angry mob that is there as well, and they are pissed. What?
Tommy?
Zygerians?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, go ahead. I'll tell you after the narrative.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. So, yeah, people are riled up. They're like, wait, what? Zygerians? What? Why are they here? And the Ivakai, half of them look really scared. The other half are really upset. So what are you guys going to do about that?
At this point, Rock will step up. Because Rock is the one... Or, I'm sorry, what did you want to say, Hisham?
Can we discuss a possible strategy and entrance strategy for the thing? I mean, let's listen to what you have. I just wanted to add something, but go on.
I think I know what Rock's going to do, and I think we should just let him do it.
Okay.
Everyone just posture around him. This is going to be fun.
Okay. I just wanted to suggest, if possible, we. Okay, that's fine. Let's go with what Rock's saying. Let's go. Okay.
All right. So Rock is going to find something elevated to stand on, probably a crate or a box or something, so that everyone is able to see and hear him. And he's going to stand up, and he's only like 6'3". He's not super tall.
Oh, really? I think Macron's taller than him then.
Yeah, Rock's not Silhouette 2 size, man. So he's going to stand. He's going to throw his arms open and go, "People of Wayrite, members of the Wookiee Enclave, and members of the Ivakai, I thank you all for joining me here for such a momentous occasion. We are here to welcome a new group of people here looking for a second chance, just as all of you have come to Singram 3 looking for a second chance at life away from the Empire. These refugees have witnessed firsthand the destructive power of the Empire when their planet, their ancestral home, was bombarded for an entire cycle, and Rock will have prepared like slides with, like hologram slides of the Super Star Destroyer and the ships just bombarding the planet, and he'll show them there, and he'll go on to say, they come as refugees, they come as people seeking aid, they come as people just as you have. They are your brothers in the fight against the Empire. They are your brothers.
Alright, I'm just going to say, when you say that, there is someone that just yells, "What the hell are you talking about? There's Nigerians!"
Can Zeno make a conversion check to shut the crowd the fuck up so they listen?
Yeah, so you guys can definitely do some checks. They're going to be 3 separate checks because you've got the main townspeople, but then you also have the Ivakai and the Wookies. So, what sort of check are you doing?
I was just hoping to coerce, because it seemed like there was a lot of people disrespecting the speaker by trying to talk at the same time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. People are, this is Wayrite, so...
Yeah, Ziva was hoping to coerce some people into listening to what was happening.
Okay. So this check is going to be very difficult. It's going
Be sure
to be...
to point out the fact that we are noted heroes of all of the people on Singram 3. So maybe that gives...
You're noted heroes, but then you've also brought in people who are pretty much the worst nightmare for a lot of these people.
I know, but Rock's getting to that. Rock's taking care of that.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that, yes, you guys do get a boost because, heroes are Wayrite. For the townspeople, it's going to be 3 red and 2 setbacks, and a boost. For the Wookiees, it's going to be 4 reds and 3 setbacks. And
Could
for
I
the
help there?
oh yeah, absolutely, yes. But before you do that, let me just keep going.
Okay.
And then the Ivakai are going to be even worse because they are afraid, and so they're going to be 5 reds and 3 setback. So those are the rules.
Good. One of the things I might suggest to Rock while he's speaking to the crowd, what I wanted to suggest was if for example, we approach it from another angle in the sense that I'm setting up a, we're setting up a medical camp, free medical camp and stuff. I thought maybe we should do that before we say anything, so people are in the mood to, sort of accept new people, and we'll actually train some of these Nigerians as paramedics and stuff.
Oh, that might not be a good idea.
Oh yeah, no, they're not.
No.
Yeah, that's not such a good idea. Oh, another thing, they already have a medical clinic here.
Yes.
But I do like most of what you're saying, but saying that they're going to have Nigerians coming at them with scalpels, not a good idea.
No. I meant we'll have paramedics and maybe disaster management personnel. Help.
Yeah, but that's
they've already got that handled here. They have a very good medical facility.
All right, that's what I didn't know. Yeah, okay.
That was almost burned down though because of
it was almost burned down.
But to sort of soften the blow, we'll set up a free camp with free medicine for 2 weeks or 1 week, special on the house surgery, cataracts and all that stuff.
But one thing though, and sorry, I don't want to make it seem like, because these are really good ideas. However, just to keep things in perspective, the medical clinic is how the doctor of this town makes his living. And so,
you mean the? Well, we can help him out. So we're helping him out. Get much needed medical, structure.
Well, what I'm saying is that
Sure.
having free services would really undercut his business. So.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
How about
however,
pay him?
We actually, I can actually say that if you don't help us in this situation, we will offer free services.
But then only the doctor has any reason not to care.
No, I mean in the sense that if he doesn't help us adjust these people, then we're gonna give free medicine and get him out.
Well, that's actually sorry. That's not going to really affect the roles for the big roles that I'm looking for right here, right at this moment. But that is a good RP piece. Do you want to do anything as a Wookiee to help adjust the Wookiee reaction?
One of the back things that I have is I'm from a Wookiee tribe of healers of some sort of fame amongst Wookiees. So like my elder thing was father was an elder or something in Wookiee. So if they recognize me from Kashyyyk tribal thing, because I have my Reek blade and all that stuff.
Okay.
They might recognize me as someone who is who can speak.
I'll say that gives a boost on top of any other boost that people add. So that's just a free boost that you get for that.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay.
All right. So who are you guys going to roll against first?
I think we should focus on the Evokai because they're probably the ones who probably need the most help. Rock already gave a nice stirring speech. Mackin will add these people come here not to take, not to claim. They just come to grow by themselves, and they will ask nothing. They ask and demand nothing of you and from you.
But the more the slavers that come here, there will be more to follow, just like the Hutts.
If they ever treat you poorly, they will answer to us like so many threats that have come to this world have.
Yeah, the Evokai don't like you, Zevo. Sorry. Okay, yeah, they are 5 reds and 3 setback.
Go ahead and roll your leadership with my 4 presence. And we also allow on talent to come in non-skilled assistance, right?
Unskilled assistance, yes. Mm-hmm.
I can take care of 2 setback. There's still going to be 1.
Okay, and I have 2 ranks of command. So I'm going to upgrade my check. So that's 5 yellow.
Well.
So it's 5 red and a purple.
Mm-hmm. And 1 setback.
Setback against 5 yellow and 2 boost.
Would unmatched insight work on this because it's groups, or again, not exactly?
Oh no! I mean, all that's going to tell you is just. They hate the Nigerians.
Some sub-counts of it. I have 1, I guess, that upgrades checks against targets affected. But I understand if it's not.
Oh, okay. Wait. Read that to me then.
Leverage is upgrade all social checks once per leverage against 1 affected participant until the end of the encounter.
Oh, yeah,
against
it's a group, so
Yeah, I know. It's a group
yeah.
that's operating as kind of one, is why I asked. Only because, like, mentally they kind of are looking for the same things in this case.
Um, gosh. Okay. Sure.
But, Tommy, just a question. By convincing one group, does it make it easier for subsequent groups, or they're separate?
They're going to be separate.
For example, if I convince the Wookiees, then we can intimidate some of the other.
No, no, no.
Oh yeah,
We're
they'll
not
respond to
intimidating
that.
anyone.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I mean,
Wait.
knock-on
Going.
effects.
Sorry. Going back to James's thing though. So you're using unmatched insight, and tell me what you're actually doing with it. Just RP wise.
Well, so yeah, Zivo would be, as Rock was making the speech, he would be really paying attention to what each group was, what they seemed to be like vibing with from it, and trying to pull out from what they weren't or what they were, what their concerns.
Okay.
might
And what's
be
the
as well.
mechanical benefit that for this specific case that you're doing?
Well, I'm trying to find the full sheet of it.
Because I'll allow it with one caveat, but I want to see what it does mechanically.
Okay, I mean,
first.
so do you want me to just read what it actually does?
Yeah.
Okay, so the base power is once per game session during an encounter or scene involving one or more other sentient creatures, spend 2 destiny points. The character immediately becomes aware of the emotional states and basic histories of up to 3. I have an upgrade that gives motives,
Okay.
and I can increase the number that's affected by, and it costs less, and then there's the one that gives the upgrade.
Yeah. So then, what mechanically will this be doing?
Basically, I mean, the real goal here would be to score that upgrade, and I guess the background kind of supporting RP, that would be that Zivo has a bigger understanding of
Okay.
what the
So
groups are looking
mechanically, you're going to upgrade this check, and then possibly other checks, or
for. Actually, I didn't notice this before because I haven't used this upgrade of it yet, but it looks like leverage actually only upgrades against one affected participant, so we'd have to, I guess, kind of pick who gets the one upgrade. So it doesn't really, since we kind of have some of the background, I think we can just flip normally and do it.
oh, okay.
I thought it upgraded all checks against affected people, not
Got it.
a check against one affected person.
All right. So in other words, okay. Sure, you can do that.
No, I don't
But if
need
you're
it.
doing it against the Evokai, I'm going to say that's a setback because you're a hut.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to use the ability.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I didn't fully read the upgrade that I had because I've never used it before.
All right. No worries. Good to know for the future.
Yep.
Yeah. So Evokai roll. It's 1 purple, 5 reds, and 1 setback.
Against my 5 yellow and 2 boost for leadership. Oh!
All right. The Evokai are scared, angry. They can't believe that Zygerians have been brought to Wayrite, a place that they thought was safe, and so they start to grumble and disperse. Like they can't believe that this has happened. So yeah. The next group that you want to deal with.
Zivo can address the kind of crowd of, I guess, mostly would be miners, I guess, the townspeople, not any of the affiliate groups.
Okay.
Which was the 3 red, right?
Yes.
All right.
3 red and a setback, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, so he'll remove the setback and take 2 strain to downgrade it
All
twice.
right, I will upgrade that check though.
Wait, so are you coercing them to get them to listen, or are you doing the convincing for the
kind
to
of
get them-
coercing them to. I mean, the whole gist of it is going to be, you've all come here from different backgrounds and either remade yourselves as people or found new opportunities, and that's all they're looking to do as well. But with a tone of like, they listened. Sorry, not they listened, but listen to what's going on here. Don't just rabble rouse.
He's wagging his finger like, hey.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I think I just had. So it was originally 3 red. I downgraded twice. You upgraded once. I think I can only do twice. I'm just checking.
But then is this supplanting my leadership role for them then?
For the townspeople, yes.
Okay.
And then we'll deal with the Wookiees.
when their time comes. Yeah, so that's what I've got. Yeah. All right. Townspeople.
Ah! No, it's a see the hut. They've got a hut speaking for them. The Evokai just left. Like this is terrible. But the advantage is that the person with a Molotov cocktail doesn't throw it at you.
Jeez, there's always one. You. All right, so then Rock will turn to the Wookiees, and he'll go.
I would like to rest with these with your help. If that's possible.
Yeah. Okay. I just hope. I hope whatever social check you have is really freaking good.
No, I actually was hoping you would let me tell you the information then that you could use.
Okay, yeah.
Because I just have one leadership, one charm, one in each. I don't have any extra skills like that.
So what you're doing is, in effect, you're giving him an unskilled boost, but you also have your Wookiee boost, so you're giving him 2 boosts.
Okay. Let me just share that information with you, Tommy, to see if that's if it's role playable in that manner, or is it the boost is enough? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm saying, yeah, I'm giving it to you. Yeah. So you're giving him, in effect, a double the normal boost.
Okay. Okay.
And so the Wookiees are 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the Wookiees are 4 red and 3 setbacks. So.
Right,
it's going to be tough, and I'm going to upgrade that check too. I mean, they're not as fearful as the Evokai, but they're still, they're mad. They can't believe this. Zygerians, okay. What?
Well, Rock's going to, after seeing the humans disperse in the Evokai, he's going to turn to the Wookiees, and he will address them personally and say, you know better than any other race the true destructive power of the Empire. The Zygerians are now numbered among you as knowing that same destructive power.
They deserved it. And actually, one of the guys is going to jump in and say, "You're the ones who brought the Imperials here. They tried to kidnap one of our younglings." Yeah. In Shirawuk.
And I tell them just one word. It's called Nanawati. In the language of the Wookiees, a growl, and that represents the cultural aspect of giving shelter to someone in need and trouble, in times, and in even your enemy, your blood enemy. If he asks for help, then you should give him help. So, in fact, we should probably ask one of the Zygerians to ask for help, which might be another problem, but still. If they ask for help, then the Wookiees are obliged to understand their plight. I'm just making it.
Okay. If one of the Zygerians is willing to do that, well, I'll see. If one of the Zygerians is willing to do that, one of you can RP it, and depending on what you say, then I'll change some things. That was a good move, Tariq.
Yes. Excellent.
Okay, so who's going to convince the Zygerians now?
I think what's going on is pretty much enough. Should be enough to convince one of the Zygerians to step forward.
Oh, good. That's good.
But
so,
I don't know if
James or Jack, one of your characters?
Svenna will step forward.
Okay.
Hands in the air, kind of actually a surrendering pose.
No, you don't have to be surrendering. It's just simply offering. You just take your hand out and just shake the other guy's hands, basically. It's basically saying that I need help.
Okay. Well, I mean, she wouldn't know all these details anyway. So, yeah, let Savannah just do what she's doing, because, I mean, this is all crazy. They're Wookiees that are growling and just all sorts of chaos in the town. So, yeah.
As she holds her hands up high and then brings them down together and towards her chest, and she says, how would she word this? I'm not a politician. My people have done terrible things for a misguided purpose. I cannot wash my hands of their crimes, but I solemnly swear that those that Oh yeah, I should claim that. Follow me. Will never take up the whip again. And on my life, I swear that none of them shall harm you or take what you have rightfully claimed as your own.
Okay, that's a good one. I'm going to say roll a force point. It's going to be good even if it's dark side. That's fine. I'm just going to see what the level of how good it is. So that was a good one. So,
Don't screw me over, Roller. Ah,
okay.
Not as bad, but still.
Yeah. So you get one boost for that. But yep. So now you guys have 3 boosts on the check.
Sorry, I dropped out there for a second.
3 boosts on the check.
Did I miss anything? Okay.
Here it goes. Come on, give me a little love.
I believe in my people.
Oh god. So the Wookiees start to rage and they start stomping their feet. There are a couple though that were actually impressed that one of the Zygerians did ask for help. However, their leader is not impressed, and yeah, so those advantages aren't going to change the failure. Oh, Hisham, hold for. Oh, he had the. Oh, I don't know. So it's not going to change that failure into a success, but those were a lot of advantages, and I will keep those in mind in the future. In that, the Wookiees as a whole have said the Zygerians are our enemy, and that is that. However, there may be some individuals within that group that don't agree, and we'll have to resolve that in a future mission. So, yeah. Wow, lots of tension on Wayrite right now.
I'm sorry, my leader. I'm sorry, my presence isn't better.
But you know what? Like sometimes, I mean, that it makes things interesting. Now you've brought Zygerians and no one's happy about it. But hey, I'll write up an adventure in the future to carry on with this because yeah, there are definitely going to be some things that happen.
Could you at least let them work on the ranch for a few weeks before you have them all lynched by the massive mob of Ivakai?
Well, the main problem there is while Savannah knows that she has a lot to account for, especially to all these people, she still doesn't want her people kind of just working off some sort of weird debt. So working on the ranch is a bit odd.
Well, no, it wouldn't be a debt. Like, we'd pay them, they'd have jobs, they'd have a home.
It's more of a moral debt than anything.
Oh, okay.
It's like she just... Because the whole reason she didn't want to go to Sakaro is that her people just end up working under someone. So she still wants to have them free. And ironically.
Okay, well,
Rock will turn to Svenna and go, I'm sorry I couldn't do more for your people, but if there is in any way, shape, or form I can help, do not hesitate to ask.
Okay.
Now, and I'll say that to her, but it's addressed to all of the Zygerians that are there.
Well, they're kind of in that whole situation, any port in a storm, so they're going to have to make it work. It's going to be uphill from here, but we'll see what happens. And on that note, we come to the conclusion of this mission, and we're going to talk about rewards. So, obviously, because this is a midweek, we're doing things a little bit differently, and so we're not doing... Welcome back, Hisham. We're not doing XP for this one, but I do have a special resource. Actually, I'll save that one for the end. The base that you guys get is -2 obligation across the board, unless it's a new one, obviously. Or you can do -1 group obligation. The one caveat is that a group obligation can be lowered. It cannot be lowered more than 1 because we'll need some sort of story progression for a group obligation to be wiped out completely.
I say let's lower the Black Sun bounty group obligation by 1.
I mean, everyone gets the choice. Like, you get to... So you have -2 obligation of any sort, personal, or you can transfer, or you can convert it into -1 group obligation that you were...
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll go ahead and spend mine like that.
Okay. So yeah, just... If you guys change it, a group obligation, just make a note that your character did that. Don't worry about notes for your personal ones, though. And then, for everyone, you also get what is called a karma point, because you took it upon yourselves to help out a group that you have not had very good relations with in the past, except for one specific member. So karma points. These will be a good thing for you guys to collect in the future. I'll be doing more midweek missions like this where you can collect karma points. So with a karma point, you can use it to upgrade an ability or remove a setback before a roll is made. However, the big thing about it is that you can also use it for rolling one boost after a roll has already been made. And there is no limit to how many karma points. If you've got 5 of them built over time, you can throw them all onto a roll that has failed. So everyone has 1 karma point. And special reward for the 2 people who created characters for this. Thank you guys for creating these characters. And you guys get to come up with your own boon for your character that is related to the NPC you made. So in other words, it'll be a discretionary boost of 2 boost dice of some shape or form, but you kind of need to give me some sort of RP thing. You don't have to do it now, you can do it later, but it's some sort of RP boost that is given to your character from the 2 Zygerians that you, or each Zygerian that you made.
One-time use kind of?
Yeah. So in other words, just as an example, maybe on a check in the future, anytime you deal with a Zygerian in the future, any check, whether it's a medicine check, whether it's a social check or something like that, boom, you get 2 boosts. Because the limiter is the species. So there's always some sort of limit to boons in this way, but yeah. But I'll let you guys come up with them.
I think Macron has a nice long chat with Stena, and he probably is going to get 2 boosts when it comes to kind of talking to Zygerians in charge.
Okay.
I think mine would probably be, since Ziva streetwise isn't great, but it would stand to reason that Iran has a lot of connections. 2 boosts to basically 2 boosts to find a restricted item.
That's perfect. Yeah, that because he likes Zevo and will definitely help Zevo out in that way. Okay. All right. Well, that is the conclusion of Shadow the Broker, Any Port in a Storm. You guys have found a home for the refugees, but it's going to be a hard scrabble life for them here. But hey, any home is better than none. So well done, agents. And with that, I will cut the recording. I will hang out for a little bit afterwards, just as a wrap up. But thanks for watching or participating, and thanks viewers for watching. And also this weekend we will be doing Shadow the Broker 44, and that is Friendly Fire Part 1. Yes, with Torty. So I'm really looking forward to that. So see you guys later. Night.